Nancy Pelosi, you know how much I love her. I can't help it. I love the woman. I mean, she's detestable, I get that, but I think she's a model of how Republicans should conduct themselves. Nancy Pelosi, already talking again about H.R. 1. You remember what she had to say about it back in October?
We have plenty of work to do in the Joe Biden administration. We're going to build the infrastructure of America in a green way. We're going to make sure health care is available to all Americans, lower the cost of prescription drugs. We're going to have H.R. 1 right off the bat be about cleaner government so that we can reduce the role of big, dark, special interest money.
She's going to make sure they're going to reduce the amount of special interest money out there. But here's what's actually in H.R. 1, the For the People Act. These freaking people. It ensures automatic voter registration, requires states to allow same-day, election day voter registration, requires paper ballots for all jurisdictions, expands vote by mail, and supports Washington, D.C. statehood. This all sounds like, well, Republicans will never win another election. Joining me now to talk about that is Scott Hounsell. He's the polling expert and contributor to RedState.com. Scott, are you a big H.R. 1 fan?
Negative, Ghost Rider. That pattern is full.
I mean, this is obviously just the most naked, let us just do whatever we want on election day power stuff in the world and has no chance to pass, right?
Unfortunately, due to the fact that Democrats are in control of both houses of Congress, it's obviously a potential. I think that the issue is I think there's enough moderate Democrats who are worried about re-election in their more purple districts that will be voting against it because of the long-term consequences of the act. If you thought what happened in 2020 was sketchy, just wait till an election held under the rules that they're suggesting under H.R. 1 would take effect. I mean, it's just carte blanche cheating. The mail ballot fraud that we were worried about in 2020 would be exponentially larger on the national level. I mean, it's insane.
Scott, there are still people on the right, whatever people believe about the 2020 election, there are people on the right who are trotting out this line as if there's never any election fraud and they're all clean and everything's good to go. How can you have two functioning brain cells and look at something like this and think, oh, it's because they never cheat? I mean, do we really have people that dumb on our side?
I think both sides have people that are dumb on their sides. Unfortunately, the fact is, I think that the Democrats do it because they genuinely believe it. Republicans do it because they're afraid what the Democrats will say about them if they don't believe that. I think that there are Republicans who will say, yeah, there's no voter fraud because that's what the media wants to hear them say so that they're liked and so applauded. I don't believe necessarily that there was wholesale voter fraud across every state. I think it was very targeted. As you know, remember the pieces that I wrote during the election season highlighted the exact areas where the fraud took place. And yet, when we come to them with the evidence of saying, hey, look, these numbers don't make sense. We performed an audit, if you will, of the elections, and these things don't matter, or these things are an issue. They tell us that they don't matter. And all H.R. 1 would do is basically make this a wholesale issue across the country. I mean, all the issues that we saw abused in certain states, some of the swing states, especially Georgia, with leading up to the election, this just makes those rules on a national level.
All right, we're changing course here. Anthony Blinken, people have no idea who this person is, none, and yet he's the Secretary of State. Who is this person?
He's been a Joe Biden clunky for a while. He's been following him around probably for the last several decades. When Joe Biden was on the Senate Foreign Intelligence Committee, this guy was one of the staffers on the committee. So he's been around for a while. This is just rewarding loyalty. I don't think that necessarily he's going to be a fantastic Secretary of State. But I also think that there are other choices that could have been much more detrimental to U.S. foreign security and national security, foreign interest in national security. So I don't think necessarily he's a horrible choice. There's much worse choices on that list, but at the same time, he's a Biden loyalist and will do what Biden wants him to do, and likely that's probably good for places like Russia and China, and not good for the United States.
Okay, Joe Biden. I understand we have to grade this on the mountain of mountainous curves, but so far, for a Democrat president, has it been okay, par for the course, twice as bad as you thought it was going to be? How's it been?
Well, why don't you ask some of those moderate Democrat voters who have all voiced their concerns and regrets for voting for him? The guy ran on the center of the political spectrum, said that he was going to be center left, and 15 minutes into being president, he's progressive left poster boy. The idea that he was going to try to unite the country, but consistently pushes extremely progressive ideals. I'm not going to ban fracking. And then the first day he's in office says, well, maybe we are going to ban fracking. One of his first things he did was kill 15,000 jobs in with the Keystone XL pipeline. He ruined chances for continued U.S. energy independence. And gets the golf clap from people like Vladimir Putin, who have put their tentacles out into the international oil market, and now will have better control over the oil market and putting the United States more on their on leaning on them for reliance on energy.
Okay, is this all just a gigantic payback to, who I'm sure are gigantic corporate donors of solar panels and things like that? Is that really all this stuff comes down to? Unfortunately,
I don't think that they're principled enough for that. I think that this is just progressive ideology being implemented. I don't think that there's any, solar panel guys smoking cigars in some back room saying, yeah, Joe, thanks for that. I think it's more along the lines, this is the Green New Deal. This is kowtowing to the progressive left. This is global warming and all the rest of that stuff that they talk about constantly. These are the issues that they suggest are wing issues, but they make them center stage when they're elected. And so I think Joe Biden's actions are just that of satisfying the progressive left. I don't think it has anything to do with being rewarding any donors or any the rest of it. This is purely a kissing up to all those that pushed him so hard into the office.
Scott, we found out, we're finding out more and more now. They're going to leave thousands of National Guard troops in D.C., at least through the impeachment process. They do realize how damaging this is to the unity and healing they say they want, right? They fortified D.C., and now they're going to drag the guy who's already gone into a trial for what? I'm not really sure. That's only going to inflame everything more. Are they trying to make everybody mad?
I think that really what it comes down to is that I don't think that they even believe the narrative that this was the most secure election in American history. Because nothing says most secure election in American history than 30,000 armed National Guard troops securing the Capitol. Certainly, there was actions taken by the right that justify securing the Capitol. That is not my argument here by any stretch of the imagination. However, you can't say that if this is the most secure election and everyone agrees when we're somehow guarding the Capitol building against half the United States, half the population of the United States. This is an insult, not just to the electoral process, but also to the National Guard troops who are being used as pawns now, essentially, to secure the everything that goes on with the impeachment and everything else, though the impeachment may likely be unconstitutional. So this has nothing more than just securing their agenda. This has nothing to do with being secure or having the process respected. This is them trying to protect themselves against what they already know to be unconstitutional and perhaps illegal.